Yes, you know.
So this chapter is completely deleted this year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
From from everyone's syllabus, Devangi, Jania?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so um, what about, so if digestion is deleted, what about excretion then? Excretory products and elimination. Is that also deleted?
That one is there.
That, that one is there? Okay, now that's very funny. And I think you can understand why it's funny, right? They don't want you to learn about digestion. They want you to learn about how excretory products are formed and how they're eliminated from the body. So from human physiology, only the digestion and absorption part is deleted, right? Rest, everything is there. Is it?
The
Yes? Okay, cool. So there needs to be some change here. Let's do that change. So let's start with, is that correct? Is this the chapter? Excretory products. And their elimination. Correct? Okay, so let's start with this one then. So I'll assume a few things. How many of you are clear about the digestive system, how the absorption mechanism of nutrients in human body? At least from your junior classes, are you familiar to some concepts? Because I will be talking about a few concepts, the way we absorb from our intestines, that part. That's why I wanted to take that chapter first. But is that if not 100% clear, but are you familiar to those concepts? No? Yes? Okay. So about excretory. Okay, cool. So Chania is familiar, so it won't be that much of a problem. Okay, so let's go to the concepts of excretion. Now, when we talk about excretory system, we will only focus on the elimination and the excretion that is done by kidney, and most importantly we'll focus on the excretion or the elimination of waste products from our blood. Okay, so defecation, for that matter, which is removal of fecal matters from our large intestine, still is part of digestive system and absorption, because whatever we do not absorb from our intestines, we throw it out. And that is a classic characteristics of a open gut or open digestive system. There are two kind of digestive systems in animal kingdom. One is the open, other is the blind gut or the closed one. For example, sea anemone has that kind of a digestive system where they have just one opening, which is known as the gas, which opens into the gastrocele. It's called gastrostoma. Whatever they take from that opening, they break it down through enzymes, absorb the important things through absorptive cells, and everything that needs to be thrown out comes out from the same opening. In humans, it's not the case. But whatever is thrown out by the digestive system is not considered as a excretory system. Okay, because anyways it went in from one opening, it has to come out whatever is left over. So it's still a part of digestive system. That is clear to everyone? Say yes, thumbs up. That's clear. Okay, so not to confuse it with excretory system, where our body deliberately keep looking for any waste that starts accumulating in our blood or in our body in general. So whatever is present in the body, in the tissues, in the muscles, and if it is a waste substance, either the cells and the tissues dump it into the blood, or the lymphatic system or the circulatory system, while it is circulating, also sweeps it and brings it to the kidneys. So here we will be focusing on urine formation. Okay, and we will be focusing on how kidneys filtrate these substances which are not useful or which are harmful actually. Okay, so that's excretory product. Sorry, that's excretory system. So excretory system includes, write down, when we talk about excretory system, in humans specifically. So this excretory system includes a pair of kidneys as a major organ. Okay. And we have coming out from kidneys are a pair of ureters. These are big pipes that come out of kidney. Again, they are in a pair, one from each kidney, a pair of ureters, which finally merges into the urinary bladder. Okay, and which throws everything out through urethra. Now the only thing which can be you can say which is not required or degenerate is urinary bladder. So some organisms do not have urinary bladder, but it will never happen that organisms do not have a pair of kidneys or a urethra. If they have no urinary bladder, this pipe then is merged together. So the ureter is the urethra, it opens. So birds, for that matter, don't have a urinary bladder because it's obvious, right? If they keep producing urine and keep storing it in their bladder, over time they will be heavier and heavier, and it will, so they have adapted, they have all kinds of adaptations which help them in flight. They have pneumatic or hollow bones, and, they have wings, they have very less of fat tissue, and even the muscles that they have are very important muscles that join bones to bones. Most of the time they have very less muscle to muscle interaction, muscle to muscle connections. They also don't have urinary bladder. So urinary bladder it can be removed from this system, but still the pair of kidneys is the most important thing. Is this part clear to everyone? Thumbs up. It's clear. Very good. Now you can say that apart from, first let me talk about in general excretory system. So apart from urinary excretion, apart from kidneys, excretory system also have some there can be other kinds of excretory systems can you give me some examples? Apart from kidney, some other organs in excretion? That play a role in excretion. So do we only excrete the urine from our body, or is there anything else we excrete?
Sweat.
Yes, we have sweat and sebaceous glands. Right? We secrete and excrete sweat and oil. Right? And these are present on, where are they present? On the surface of skin. So skin also plays some excretory role. And you can walk. So skin also plays excretory role. And apart from the skin, what else plays excretory role? Anything that we throw out of our body when we don't need it. So it is right. Anything else?
Undigested food.
Yeah, but that is not a part of excretory system. That is what I was telling all through. That is still a part of digestion and absorption. So we digest what we absorb, what we don't absorb, we throw out. So undigested food, when it is thrown out of the body, there is only two ways by which it can be thrown out. Okay, either vomit it out from the same mouth from which it is ingested. That's not a very normal or routine way of throwing food out of the body. But other way is defecation, like where the fecal matter is defecated from the body. But that is not a part of excretory system. That is not excretion per se. That is just throwing out what we ingested, but it never entered our system. So it always stayed, the food that we eat, whatever gets absorbed goes into the blood, enters our main system of the body. Whatever does not get digested always stay in the stomach or intestine or in the large intestine. It never enters anywhere else in the body, right? So it's like a tunnel. Whatever entered has to come out. So our body is not excreting it out, finding it and excreting it out per se. Do you understand what I mean to say?
Yes, sir.
So kidneys play an important role. Skin plays a minor role in excretion through sweat and sebaceous glands. Also, you will see lungs. You can consider lungs as playing an excretory role to some extent. What do they excrete out for that matter? Lungs.
CO2.
Yes. So lungs play an important role in elimination of CO2 from our blood. Right? Because lungs get the CO2 that they are now eliminating from the blood only. Anything else? Liver also to some extent plays eliminatory roles in the body. So apart from kidneys, which are the prime excretory organs, if at all we will consider any other organ playing any kind of eliminatory or excretory role, is skin, lungs, and liver. What do livers eliminate? Livers eliminate a lot of drugs that we put in or harmful substances that get accumulate in our body, because liver is the metabolic center of the body. Correct? Liver is also the largest gland of our body. And write down, liver eliminates substances like, first it secretes. So to eliminate, it has to secrete. So it secretes substances like bilirubin, biliverdin, which is a component of bile juice, bilirubin and biliverdin. Sounds like two brothers. I realize it's a good name for pets, isn't it, people? If you have two cats, you can name it bilirubin and biliverdin. Anyways, but it secretes these. It also secretes substances like what else the liver secretes? Cholesterol, yes. Cholesterol, degraded hormones, like hormones which are no longer required. They are broken down by the liver. And whenever you take any medicine, let me tell you, we always take doses more than we need. So if you have a fever, if you are taking a paracetamol, which is 600 mg of paracetamol, you don't need all that active paracetamol in your body. So when your fever is gone, the rest of it, which is unused, which never bound to any receptor or caused anything, goes to liver, and liver now has to take care of it to break it down and then put it back into the blood, and from where it will go into the kidney and will get filtered out and it will be thrown out. So one part is also played by liver. Okay, bilirubin, biliverdin, cholesterol, drugs, etc. So all these are later on eliminated from the body. Okay. Is it clear, everyone? If you have noted down, please let me know. I'll move forward. Okay, very well. Now, having said that, let's come to the fundamentals, the basics of what do we excrete from kidneys. What is the major thing that we excrete? Let's take an example of human. What do humans excrete through their urine? There are a lot of things, but what is a major component of urine?
Urea.
Urea, correct? In urine, we have a lot of urea that we excrete. In general, animals in the animal kingdom excrete one type of waste in excess. Major. So excrete one major type of waste, which is nitrogenous waste. Okay. One major type of waste, which is nitrogenous waste. Nitrogenous waste simply means sorry. Excuse me, people. Okay. Am I audible? Am I audible, people? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So animals excrete the major type of waste, which is nitrogenous waste. Okay, all living system produce this. And if you talk about nitrogenous waste, there are three major kinds of nitrogenous waste which are excreted out by kidneys or kidney-like structures in animals. So from insects to fish to amphibians, reptiles, mammals, birds, everyone, annelids, all excrete either ammonia, which is the first kind of nitrogenous waste, or urea, which humans excrete majorly, and the third one is uric acid. Okay, the animal kingdom. So these three kind of nitrogenous wastes are excreted from the animal kingdom. Now those first of all, in the order of increasing toxicity, you know which is the most toxic out of the three? It's ammonia. Okay, ammonia is most toxic. Then comes urea, it is moderately toxic, and uric acid is the least toxic among these three. It's not like it's least toxic in the biosphere. Okay, so toxicity goes in this direction: uric acid to urea, urea to ammonia. Another concept that I would like to tell you right away is any organism, when it excretes out something through kidneys, it always dilutes that waste in some amount of water. Now remember, the more toxic waste you are excreting, the more amount of water you need to dilute it before you excrete it. Because if you excrete a toxic substance which is very less diluted or undiluted, when it will be stored in the urinary bladder or when it will pass through the urethra, the cells will get affected and there will be toxicity in your own body because of that waste. Correct? So we all have ammonia which is produced in our body. Even humans have ammonia produced as byproducts of many pathways, and it's a toxic one. So what happens in our body is we do not let ammonia stay as ammonia in our body. We convert it into urea quickly, and the urea is what we excrete. Some organisms do not do this conversion, save energy, and excrete ammonia only. Now you tell me, what kind of organisms will be excreting ammonia and what kind of organisms will be excreting uric acid? Those organisms which will have a lot of access to water often tends to excrete ammonia, whereas organisms that have evolved with lesser water availability excrete urea, and organisms which have even less water availability or organisms which excrete very less water in their excretory products, they excrete uric acid. Okay, so if I go to, let me first tell you the name. So those organisms which secrete ammonia are called ammonotelic. Okay, organisms that secrete urea are called ureotelic, and organisms that secrete uric acid are called uricotelic. Is this concept clear, people?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Yusuf. How are you? Good to hear your voice.
I'm fine, sir.
You joined a little late.
I joined 10 minutes late.
Okay, cool. So talking about ammonotelic, can you guess what kind of organisms could be ammonotelic? So ammonia is very, very toxic, and if you're excreting it, you need lots of water. So can you tell me which kind of organisms have lots and lots of water available for them?
Aquatic animals?
Exactly. So those who live in water are those organisms. Okay, so for example, fish. So fish, they excrete ammonia. Okay. When it comes to terrestrial organisms often excrete urea or uric acid, but not ammonia, because they conserve water, right? They will not have lots and lots of water around them. So you can write down terrestrial organisms. Just write this one sentence: terrestrial organisms adapted to excrete out terrestrial organisms adapted to excrete out lesser toxic nitrogenous wastes, lesser toxic nitrogenous wastes like urea and uric acid. Urea and uric acid to conserve water inside their bodies. To conserve water inside their bodies. Okay. Now, in fish also, let me tell you this one concept. When I say water availability, it is what amount of water is available for you to drink, so that you can drink it or get it in your system and excrete it out with your excretory products. Do you think all kind of fish have same amount of water availability? Sounds like yes, all fish live in the water. But when you compare between freshwater fish and marine water fish, do you think freshwater fish has as much water available as marine water fish? Who has more water available? Freshwater fish or marine water fish? Come on, make a guess. What is bigger, a river or an ocean?
Marine water fish.
Yeah, but that's not how it goes. I was waiting for someone to give that answer. That's the wrong answer, but congratulations on giving the answer, because now you will realize and remember it forever. It's not about the size, it's about effective availability. In marine water is called marine water because it has a high concentration of salt. Okay, fresh water has no concentration of salt. So the way this works is, fresh water can be, you can just drink fresh water, but marine water comes with salt. Okay, so you cannot drink marine water. So to drink marine water, even marine organisms, what they do, they remove the salt out of it to maintain their osmotic balance, and that function is done by specialized organs called gills. Correct? So marine organisms have to use energy to make that. It's like they have to work like a RO filter. You would not like all that salt in your cells. Anyone has have had a marine fish, a cooked marine fish? If you clean the cooked marine fish properly before cooking, it's not like you don't have to add salt to a marine fish when you're cooking it. Does marine fish taste salty? No, right? Marine organisms do not taste salty. They're just living in that environment, which means the water that they are getting for themselves is also just water. But the availability, you cannot make water move against its concentration gradient. Osmosis, rule of osmosis. Remember, people? If I keep a raisin in a fresh water overnight, that raisin will swell up. But if I keep a raisin in a water with sugar in it, so inside the raisin also is sugar, and outside the raisin also is lots of sugar and water. So the raisin will not swell up that much. Or if the sugar concentration is too much, more than what it is in the resin, then the raisin may even further shrink but not swell up, because water will move from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. Do you understand that, people? Thumbs up. Thumbs up if it's clear. Yusuf, Hiram? Clear, great. So technically, if you see, oceans are bigger, but freshwater fish have more water to drink and dispose of. So when I say a monotelic fish, most of the monotelic fish are found in the freshwater. Okay. Whereas when you talk about ureotelic, The examples are here also fish can be ureotelic, but these fish will be marine fish. So see the difference. Both are fish, but one kind of adaptation. So a fish living in an ocean can also dehydrate like an organism which is terrestrial. That sounds very weird, but that's true. If fish cannot regulate its osmotic balance or cannot do what I told you just now, then a fish living in a very salty pocket of ocean can also get dehydrated. The cells can get dehydrated. Is it clear? An interesting fact, but you should know it. Make sense, people? Okay. So marine fish, mammals, most of the amphibians, and reptiles, they are ureotelic. Okay. Sorry, I'm sneezing more often today. Is it clear? Now, when I come to uricotelic, now you can tell me these organisms will have even less water to dispose of. So what organisms could be uricotelic? Yes. First of all, birds. Most of the birds, almost all birds are uricotelic. Okay. Is it clear, people? Birds are uricotelic. Have you seen birds when they excrete? Their excreta has very less water versus, so as compared to a human urine, and if you compare it with a freshwater fish excreta. So a freshwater fish has lots of water to dispose, so it can just dispose ammonia into lots and lots of water and throw it out. A human has to maintain, store water, so there is a limit till which you can throw water outside your body. So you better throw urea, not ammonia, because if let's say X amount of urea requires 1 liter of water in which it can be dissolved so that it does not stay toxic to the system, then the same amount of ammonia will require 3 to 4 times more water. Humans cannot produce 4 or 5 liters of urine in a day, right? Can we afford to do that? No, right? So that's why we secrete urea. Whereas birds do not have lots of water stored in their body anyway, because they fly, so they have to be lighter. Also, they come down, their diet, and they do, most of the water for birds comes from their diet. Okay, so they have to maintain water, and very less they can afford to throw out. So that's why they make ammonia into urea and urea into uric acid, and then secrete uric acid. It takes lots of energy, slightly more energy, but it will conserve water. So that's the trade that you have to do. So birds and insects. If you see insects excretory substance, that also is like pellets. It has very less water. Birds, insects, and some reptiles again. So reptiles will come in both, because some reptiles live in environment where there is water, moderate water. Some live in deserts also. Reptiles can live in deserts. So these reptiles and land snails, snails that live on land, snails that live in water, can excrete ammonia or urea. Land snails excrete uric acid, the least toxic one. So you understood three things: monotelic, ureotelic, and uricotelic. Is it clear? Okay, perfect. So in animal kingdom, there are not just kidneys. So we will be focusing on kidneys, but before that, I just want you all to I would like Yusuf to do this. Yusuf, can you come to, do you have NCERT with you right now?
Yes, sir.
Can you come to page number 291 of your NCERT? If I'm not wrong. This is the page where the human urinary system diagram of the kidney will be there. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But before human system starts, there must be a paragraph that is talking in general about animal kingdom excretory structures. Is there a paragraph that you can see? Animal kingdom.
The starting paragraph.
It must be saying animal kingdom excretory structures, something like that. Page 291, I think, where it starts. That is what I have noted. With what sentence page 291 starts?
A survey of it's there.
Yes, right, that one. Please, can you read that paragraph for us, please?
Right, sir.
Yeah, and try to go slow, okay?
All right.
And I might also stop you at certain points, so please don't mind.
All right. A survey of animal kingdom presents a variety of excretory structures. In most of the invertebrates, these structures are simple tubular forms, whereas vertebrates have complex tubular organs called kidneys.
Yes.
Some of
so
these.
just 1 second. Yes, stop here, right here, Yusuf. So this paragraph is saying that when you go to lower organisms like insects, annelids, the concept of having a kidney is present in all, but the structure of kidney varies significantly. So the fundamental of a kidney is that kidney looks like a bean-shaped organ in our body, and it has lots and lots of other compartments, glomerulus, this and that. But effectively, it's nothing but a tube in which blood flows in, it gets filtered, and from the other side blood goes out, and whatever is filtered out is thrown out of the body. So effectively, it's a tubular organ. Okay, simple. So lower organisms also have the concept of kidneys, and in them it is not very coiled, not very structured, doesn't look like a bean as it looks like in humans, but there must be some tubular organs that are doing this filtration of blood. Or in insects where there is no concept of blood, they have just a fluid, body fluid, which is sometimes called hemolymph, sometimes called body lymph, that also needs to be filtered. So some or the other kind of tubular structure will always be there. Okay, kidney is nothing but a complex tubular organ. Make sense? Make sense, everyone? Yes, continue, Yusuf.
Some of these structures are mentioned here. Protonephridia
Protonephridia.
Protonephridia or flame cells are the excretory structures in platyhelminthes.
Yes, this year I have also told you when we were doing this organism classification. Protonephridia or flame cells are excretory structures in platyhelminthes. Okay, like planaria could be the example. Okay, also it is present in some annelids, and it's also present in some cephalochordates. So you know the cephalochordates? Anyone remember cephalochordates? I gave you one example of Amphioxus. If you are forgetting all this, please go back and revise those chapters. So in all these, some annelids, Amphioxus, planaria, rotifers, you will find something known as flame cells or its equivalent. It is nothing but excretory structures of these lower organisms. Yes, continue.
Rotifers, some annelids, and the
Cephalocordate.
Amphiusus protozoophorids are primarily concerned with ionic and fluidic volume regulation.
So I think that sentence is trying to say that protonephridia is concerned with fluid regulation or ionic fluid regulation, and this process is called osmoregulation. So please write down this part. Just note it down. What is osmoregulation? Again, we have studied it before also, but just note that osmoregulation is the ionic or fluid regulation in the body fluid like blood. So in our case, it's blood. In an insect's case, it can be hemolymph. But in both of these, there should be a balance of ions called electrolyte balance. Okay. Sometimes when this electrolyte balance goes off, people can faint. Okay, so that's regulated by these nephridia. Yes, continue, Yusuf.
Nephridia are the tubular excretory structures of earthworms and other annelids. Nephridia helps to remove nitrogenous waste and maintain a fluid and ionic balance.
Correct.
Malpighian tubulars are the
Malpighian tubules. Malpighian tubules is the same concept of a kidney in an insect. So protonephridia in lower organisms like flatworms, cephalochordates. Then nephridia, which is true nephridia, it is present in annelids like earthworm, okay, leech, okay, and then comes Malpighian tubules. All these structures may look different anatomically, but they serve the same purpose. So Malpighian tubules are in insects. Yes, continue.
Malpighian tubules are the excretory structures of the most of the insects, including cockroaches. Malpighian tubules help in the removal of nitrogenous waste and osmoregulation.
Same function, yes.
Antennal glands or green glands perform the excretory functions in crustaceans like prawns.
Yes, prawns live in water. Okay, they are aquatic crustaceans. So crustaceans are aquatic, most of them. So for them, the same concept which is there in insects, which is called Malpighian tubules, in prawns it is called antennal glands or green glands. Green glands because it looks greenish due to deposition of nitrogenous waste. Okay, people. Is this paragraph over, Yusuf?
Yes, sir, it's over. Anything else?
Great. No, thank you so much. So this was just a context to give you a context of different excretory structures in animal kingdom in general. Might be important for your, not for boards that much, but for entrances. So keep in mind that in general, what is the trend of excretory structures in animal kingdom? Now for your school examination and boards, yes, thank you so much, Yusuf. Now for your school examination and boards, we will be focusing majorly for the rest of the part of this chapter to human excretory system. So let me come to the human excretory system. Okay, so in human excretory system, as I told you, there are two bean shaped, not a very good bean that I made, but please bear with it, two bean shaped structures called kidneys. Okay, and to be very honest, this is a bad diagram, but kidneys are always heterobaric structures in humans. So one kidney is always bigger than the other kidney in every human. Okay, both the kidneys are not of the same size, and it is one of the dilemma in developmental biology that why it happens. Okay, so it's not like the case of lungs where the left side of the lung also has to incorporate for the heart. So it's very obvious that in all humans, left lung will be smaller than the right lung because heart has to be slightly tilted towards the left and it is present in that groove where the lung is. But in case of other structures like which are present in pair, like ovaries, kidneys, or testes in males, always one is slightly bigger than the other. Okay, so it's not completely understood. Many reasons we know the causes, but we do not know why it has been adapted such in evolution. But these are two kidney shaped bean shaped organs which are supplied by so there'll be two things. One will be a vein. So veins supply the kidneys, and the other will be the arteries. And the major vein, they call it so artery supplies the kidneys. So make an arrow like this. So blood comes through arteries and goes inside the kidneys. Okay, it goes in, and then kidneys clean the blood, like filter the blood and send it back into the veins. So it goes back like this. And then veins take the blood back to the heart. Okay, it's same for both kidneys. So if you see from the arteries, it goes inside the kidneys, and after filtration, it comes back to the vein and goes. And the vein that takes the blood to the heart from the lower body, what is it known as? What are the two major veins that bring blood? We just did circulatory system, people, come on. Two major veins are superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, right? So this will be the inferior vena cava. Because kidneys are below. Okay. And this one will be the coming from the aorta, right? And there are two, so just remember that it is the dorsal part of it comes from the dorsal aorta, and when it gets diverged into arteries and veins inside the kidney, then this one will be called the renal artery, because everything associated with kidney is named as renal. So you will say renal artery that brings blood to the kidney, and you will see renal vein that takes it out of the kidney. Okay, is it clear, people? Blood to any organ is taken by the arteries because they take the blood away from the heart, and blood from any organ towards the heart is taken by the veins. Very good. So this part is clear. Apart from that, let's draw, if I draw the internal, how the internal of the kidney looks. So in one kidney, let me draw this. So what happens is, the first, there is a common region in which the blood comes here. Okay, and that common region will be called the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. Okay, from that it goes into the this region, which is called which I am marking here, and this region has a lot of compartments, but I'm not drawing it like that. It is called medulla, renal medulla. And I already told you in the last class, the concept of medulla and cortex stays true for every organ. we just discussed in the last few class ago, I think, the adrenal medulla and the adrenal cortex, right? Who was explaining the adrenal gland? I think it was Devangi. Was it you, Devangi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you remember we talked about adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex?
Yes, sir.
So this is renal medulla, and what will this be then?
Renal cortex.
Perfect. And if just to give you a context, if I ask you, where do you think is adrenal gland in this setup? You know, adrenal gland is sitting right here in this shape, which I'm drawing. Can you all see this highlighting markers drawing?
Yes, sir.
This is where adrenal gland sit, just at the top of the kidney, like a cap. That's why it's called adrenal gland. Okay. So we just don't need this, so I'm not explaining this. So is this clear till here? Now, when blood enters and then does all this thing, and then blood exits, the kidney itself has some tubes coming from each kidney. So this black tube, which comes from both the kidney alike, will be called, what will it be called? Ureter. So there are one pair of ureters. It's called ureter. And these two ureters goes and merges with a bladder, which is called urinary bladder. Okay. And then this urinary bladder will remove tube, which is called urethra. And you know about urethra? It excretes out the urine. Is this whole thing clear to all of you? Where is renal artery, renal vein, renal medulla, renal cortex, ureter, urinary bladder, urethra, renal pelvis, inferior vena cava, and aorta? Everything is clear, right? Now, let's focus here. Now we will focus on renal medulla. Okay, I'm giving you time. Please draw this. This is the most, this part. And let me know when you're done. Take a couple of minutes and draw this. This diagram can come in your exam. Diagrams do come, and diagrams are the most easiest ways to get good marks in your exam. Please draw this. I'll be just back. Done, everyone? Okay, great. Now, so there are some structures which are important for you to know, but before that, let me come to, okay, now inside, as I told you, inside this kidney, the renal medulla, write down, the renal medulla is divided into few conical structures. So inside there are few conical structures that look like a pyramid. Okay, few conical structures known as medullary pyramids. Medullary pyramid. Let me see if I can pull out the figure for you. Just 1 second. Can you all see the screen that I'm sharing now, or is it the same screen? No, you cannot see it, I think. Let me pull out that figure for you. Come to your NCRTs. There is a figure for a diagram. There must be one longitudinal section of a kidney. That figure. Yes, this one, I found it. I think it's figure 19.2. Can you see that, everyone? Figure 19.2. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Let me try to put it here. Yes, this one. Can you see this, everyone? Yeah, great. So, yeah, so this is a zoomed in version called a longitudinal section. So you take a kidney bean and like imagine it like a rajma and split it into two cotyledons. So it is like one of the cotyledon. Okay, and what you see here are different structures that are very important for the function. Okay, so this is the renal artery. Remember, so here blood was coming like this inside. It will move inside and it will first come into this region, which is known as the renal pelvis. Correct? We talked about this. From this renal pelvis, it will move towards these structures, these pyramid-like structures. And when it will reach here towards this mouth, these structures, from where the pyramids begin, they are called the renal calyx. So renal artery, renal vein. So from renal artery, the blood comes into renal calyx. So let me also keep naming it. Sometimes, you know what they do in exams, they ask you the order. So blood comes into renal artery, goes into renal calyx. From the renal calyx, it enters into, oh, I'm so sorry. We missed the pelvis. Artery, renal pelvis, then goes to renal calyx. From there, they enter into these medullary pyramids. Okay, this is where blood goes. This renal column, cortex, and renal capsule has other things which we'll talk about in later on. But after filtration, then what it will come to, the blood will go out through the renal vein. Okay, and whatever is filtrate which is called the urine filtrate or kidney filtrate, will go out from ureter. Till this time, you can call it the urine. Okay, goes out through this. Now, please write a few things. And this which you see, these renal columns are very important structures and for function of the kidney, and they are also known as I think Bertini's column. Okay, yes, Bertini's column. Bertini found it as a so Bertini's column. This was asked once in the NEET. So renal column is called Bertini's column. And then the most important thing that a kidney has that we want to study here in detail is nephrons. Okay, and they are present in this cortex to medulla zone here. Everywhere you will have lots and lots of nephrons present. Okay, so write down few points. Nephrons are the functional units of kidneys, and this is exactly the tubular structure that I was talking about. So equivalent of nephrons are present in other systems that we have studied: Malpighian tubules, flame cells, other structures. So a kidney at the very basic level is a million of nephrons, nothing else. So write down nephrons, which are the functional unit of the kidneys, are complex tubular structures. Okay, and there are around 1 to 1.2 million in each kidney. Million is 10 lakhs. Okay, so around 10 to 12 lakhs per kidney. So you can understand they're small, right? There are around 1 to 1.2 million per kidney. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Okay, now let me also bring in your NCERT also must be having the diagrammatic representation of a single nephron. Does it have that? Let me see. Picture. No, that's not it. Yes. Yes. Can you see this diagram as well, people? Everyone, please confirm if you can see this diagram.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now this is one nephron which is present, which has been taken. This is yellow. Let me use a yellow color. So in this kidney, in this cortex, so here, let's say, I used a here. So there is a structure which is your, from here I'm blowing it over, and you see that this is one such nephron. Now you know that it has blood coming in, so this is where the blood comes in. This is called afferent arteriole. Okay, arteries keeps dividing and not dividing, but artery keeps getting thinner and thinner and makes arterioles. The thinnest kind of arteries or veins are called capillaries. So here it's called afferent. Afferent means which comes in, okay, which brings something is called afferent. Okay, and what goes out is called efferent. So afferent arteriole brings blood to a nephron, and efferent arteriole takes blood away from nephron. Is this clear? Thumbs up if that's clear. Okay, very well. Now, what's happening here is blood is coming to the nephron. In the nephron, there are few structures you have to know. One is called glomerulus, and keep writing side by side. So from afferent arteriole, which is first, the blood goes to glomerulus. Glomerulus is a convoluted tubule network, tube-like network, convoluted tube-like network, which is made up of the afferent arteriole, okay, and it's called glomerulus. So blood is there in glomerulus, and it is surrounded by this capsule-like structure called Bowman's capsule. The most important site of absorption is Bowman's capsule in a nephron. In every nephron, there is a Bowman's capsule. So what is happening here is whatever are the impurities are getting absorbed by this Bowman's capsule from the blood. This is how the filtrate is absorbed. Is it clear? Then whatever is absorbed, it will move inside this very convoluted tubule. Okay, and that's why the name is proximal convoluted tubule. The word proximal means that comes first. Distal means that comes afterwards. Proximal towards the beginning, distal towards the end. So proximal convoluted tubule is the one which starts right away from the Bowman's capsule. So that's why the arrow goes here. Distal is this one, which is away, the last part. So if you just track it, it comes and goes here, distal. So fourth is proximal. From proximal convoluted tubule is also known as PCT in the fields. Some textbooks write it as PCT. This is called DCT. In entrances, if you find words like the PCT of the kidney, know that it's proximal convoluted tubule of the kidney. And then DCT is distal convoluted. From there, we come to this part, which is called Henle's loop, which is fifth in order. Afferent arteriole, glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, PCT, and Henle's loop. Okay. Your efferent arteriole, so afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole are associated for blood. The rest other has filtrate. So filtrate is in this yellow tube, blood is still in this red part. Okay. Now loop of Henle has two regions, one which goes down like this. So this is called descending loop of Henle because it's going down, descending. Then it reaches the very end and starts going up, which means, and these are real structures which are in this fashion only. So it starts going up, so it's called ascending loop of Henle in the kidney. So Henle's loop has two structures, descending loop of Henle and ascending loop of Henle. Everything clear till here? Any confusion, any doubt? Give me a thumbs up if things are clear till here. Great. These are very important structures. We will study the function of each here, but I'm just telling you the anatomy first. Then from ascending loop of Henle, you reach the distal convoluted tubule, which is the sixth in the thing. From here, everything falls into this major tube, which is called the collecting duct. So one collector, so you see this one opening, this is two opening, this is one, so there can be another one here. So one collecting duct collects filtrate from multiple nephrons. Okay, the nephron is the structure that you see. And one thing that you might note is that, can you see something very peculiar here, interesting here? When
There's only one nephron attached.
yeah, this yeah, in this figure there is only one nephron. That's why it's called a diagrammatic representation of a nephron, of a single nephron. But there is one thing very interesting. By just looking at the structure, you can figure out then that this afferent arteriole, which brought the blood, after it formed the glomerulus, everything happened, it should just go away, right? But it does not go away. What does it do instead? It makes a network around, you see this network which makes around the PCT, loop of Henle, and not DCT, PCT and loop of Henle. Can you see this network that it's making, everyone? Yeah, yes or
Yes.
no? What is this? The job is done. You brought the blood, everything got absorbed from the blood. You should leave with the blood, which is filtered now. Why this afferent arteriole is not leaving like this here, but instead making a network and leaving from here? Why not this?
Because after
Mm-hmm.
after filtration, the blood should get back to the body.
So it can get back to the body from here on also, no? The blood came, gave everything. So whatever was, blood is not moving inside the PCT and DCT. It is just the filtrate. So the blood is still in the glomerulus, and from there it comes into the efferent arteriole. But instead of going away simply, it starts making a network around the PCT and the loop of Henle, and then goes from here. So what it is doing, the blood is still inside it only, it could have just left. So what you said, that blood needs to go back into the body, why can't it go the most straightforward way? Why make chakras around the PCT and loop of Henle and then go out? That is what I'm saying. Why the blood needs to, the blood vessel needs to make a network around PCT and loop of Henle. Just come, give your blood into the glomerulus. Everything that is not required in the blood will be taken by the Bowman's capsule and then go away. What do you think? What's happening here? There's something happening here, right? Blood never goes inside the Bowman's capsule. If blood is going inside the Bowman's capsule, that's a big problem. Kidneys are not functioning and the blood, there is a hemorrhage. Any idea? Anything at all? Can you think of? So this network, which is formed around PCT and loop of Henle, and the reason that it does not move through this route is that once whatever is filtered out from the blood by the glomerulus, it also contain things which are useful to the body, but kidney thinks that it is not useful. Now kidney does not think like I'm saying, but this is how evolution has taken place. Kidneys or nephrons have evolved in a manner where they just know one thing. They just know that whatever is not a component of blood, which means whatever is not a platelet, whatever is not a RBC, whatever is not a WBC, just take it out of the blood. But going by this definition, you are taking water, a lot of water, you are taking electrolytes, salt, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chlorine. You are taking so many things. You cannot take protein because protein are big structures. So proteins never come out in the glomerulus, but everything else gets sieved out. And the blood realizes, oh no, you cannot take so much of water from me. If you take so much of water from me, I will become a thick soup. Then it will be very difficult for me to run in the veins and the arteries. So give me my water back. And then PCT is like, no. I have been told to take everything out. I will not give you anything back. So then there is a dialogue between this arteriole and the PCT and loop of Henle. This is where this whole network is about. And by the end, the blood manages to somehow convince the loop of Henle, okay, I think you are right. I think it makes sense. So you take things back. Now I'm telling this like in a story manner so that this stays in your head, but there is a scientific mechanism behind this, how it functions. Okay. And also let me tell you, there is a difference in directionality. So when descending loop of Henle comes in and goes down, the blood in the capillary which is just next to it goes up. And when the ascending loop of Henle goes up, the blood which is exactly next to it goes down. Okay, you understand? Keep this directionality in mind. So they are always flowing in opposite directions and talking to each other through a biochemical mechanism, which we are going to study in detail in this chapter. In the next topic, which is urine formation. So urine formation is the most important part of this chapter, okay, which we will do in the next class. And this is again not a very big chapter. First part, so 3 parts has to be there in every human physiology chapter. First is the basic anatomy and physiology part, where I will also give you some fundamentals. Then we'll go into the mechanism and finally some disorders. So any doubt? So we have, I think, 3-4 minutes more left, but I will not start the urine formation part today because let's start it afresh in the next class. You can ask me any doubts if you have in the next couple of minutes. Anything which is not clear till here? Keep in mind whatever I said today. If you have noted it down, great. Think about it. Think about this extensive network of blood vessel around PCT and loop of Henle. And in the next class, we will exactly be talking about this. Any doubts, people? No doubts?